to say that we are starting our careful, phased, science and data-driven process to reopen Washington's economy while we are remaining absolutely steadfast in our commitment to the health of Washingtonians. On Monday, I will issue a new extension of our Stay Home, Stay Healthy order, and this will allow us to take some initial immediate steps to begin reopening. We're turning the dial. Washington businesses will reopen in 4 phases, which I'll discuss today. And in addition, several smaller counties that have not been hit so hard by COVID-19 will be able to apply to the Department of Health for a variance from my order so that they can continue to open some of their operations. But I've got to just at the outset recognize something that all of we Washingtonians have to realize, and that we have not won the fight against this virus. Monday's order will continue a ban on public gatherings. Many businesses will have to be closed. And that is why I'm extending the order. I would like to tell you that we would all be able to make reservations on June 1st, but I cannot. We will have to continue to monitor and to assess the data on a daily basis and adapt as conditions allow. So the new normal is not here yet, but I'd like to share some good news and then a consideration. This morning I met with the Department of Health team who've been doing a crackerjack job and modelers from the Institute for Disease Modeling. This morning, they told me that there is continuing evidence that we are suppressing the spread of COVID-19. Transmission rates in central Puget Sound are down. What we're doing is working. Social distancing is working. But for recreation activities that are not allowed in phase 1, including camping, small gatherings of 5 people socially or less could return. I know that will be welcome. As well as by law can take they can place more strict restrictions for their jurisdictions. Even if the federal government fulfills its commitment to us to get us 1 million test kits that they said that they will provide us fairly shortly. That's certainly a level I think we would need to be in the short term. However, that number will increase as we move forward throughout these steps, and that's counterintuitive. You'd think as things got better, you need less tests. In fact, we need more, because as people return to work, we are going to want to test them, many of them, particularly if there's any indication of the virus in a company. We're going to want to test people all around that individual. And there's no reason not to do that except the lack of testing capacity. So the need will grow significantly above that 20,000 over time, and the amount we end up needing on the extent of the virus and how fast we can bring people back. Your second question, Rachel, I got to start writing these down. The criteria, yeah, I'm sorry, the criteria for the counties. So the process will be that the local health department will need to make a decision whether they would like to move to the next stage, stage 2. If they decide they would like to do that, they'll forward the recommendation to the county commissioners, and the county commissioners then will make a decision whether they would like to move to stage 2. They will submit some plans to the Department of Health. They'll need to show that they have a good surge capacity in the hospitals and have good PPE. And if those things are in place, then those 10 counties will be able to move forward.
Next question comes from Drew with King 5.
Good afternoon, Governor. As you know, and you may be able to hear behind me, there are folks who are still upset, and this news is not going to be good for them. They want to get back to work. They want these orders lifted. And while there may be some things peeled back here in a couple of weeks, realistically, we're talking about June before getting into barbershops or any kind of restaurants. Are you worried about the fatigue turning into more of an ignoring of the order? And do you expect to have to raise the enforcement level, be it the National Guard or local police?
No, look, the vast majority of Washingtonians don't want to see their relatives die of the COVID virus. The vast number of Washingtonians accept that this is a community interest that we have and we're all working together. And the vast majority of Washingtonians understand that if we stick together for a while longer, we won't lose all the gains that we've already made. And they understand that this has been painful. Look, I understand the frustrations that we all have shared. It's so frustrating that we don't want to do this twice. This is bad enough once. We should not take the risk to do this twice. And we have to make decisions based on hard-headed data and science and not wishes when it comes to life itself. And the hard-headed science tells us that we've got one decision to make here if we're going to continue on the road to recovery. And that's doing what we're doing. Make a cautious return of our businesses that we have set forth. We have already allowed the reopening of construction and hunting and golf. We've allowed the reopening of elective surgery. We're moving forward with some restricted matters as soon as in the next couple of weeks so that we can move forward on those protocols that we had. So we are making progress. We are opening businesses today. And this is a very rational approach moving forward. And that's how we have to make decisions.
Next question comes from Jim with the Spokesman Review.
Governor, if other counties, other than the 10 that you mentioned, show lower rates, will it be possible for their health officers and their county commissioners to ask to move forward faster on the phases? And do you have some criteria that you would put forward for them?
Well, yes, the 10 that we're accepting a request, should they want to make it, are extremely low rates of infection that are quite unique. They're also relatively small counties, and that was important as well, so that we don't want to take risks if something goes wrong. We're going to use them as barometers as to how this works, actually. And as I've said, in a couple of weeks, we'll evaluate this to see whether it makes sense to allow further requests from other counties as well. And again, we'll be driven by data to see what the situation looks like at that time. But I do want to note that these 10 counties are quite different from others in several respects.
Next question comes from Simone with Q13.
Hi, Governor. How long do you anticipate it would take for a county to go through the process of applying for this waiver? And adding on to that one question, we're seeing in California, a county specifically is defying the governor's order there today, allowing schools, businesses, and churches to reopen. Some other cities are deciding to take legal action. If a county does not get approved or does not decide to wait for the DOH approval and goes ahead with reopening, what are the repercussions at the state level? And then just a clarification, does phase 1 begin next week, or is the school to be fully able at the end of May?
Yes. On your first question, as far as the timeline, this is something as soon as we hear from the counties, it's just a matter of days to turnaround time to get an answer back to them. I actually think that these counties will find broad acceptance by the Department of Health because we've already sort of pre-screened them, if you will. So I don't think that's going to be a long period at all. As far as stage 1, what we said is that the businesses we talked about being in stage 1 today, the new businesses, will essentially, we just need protocols so that they can return safely. And we want to do with them what we did with the construction industry, very successfully working with business leaders or builders and the laborers. And that should be done by May 15th. And I don't see any reason that it would not be.
Next question comes from Jim Drew with the News Tribune.
Governor, I was wondering if you could just help with the
Jim, I need to repeat it. I think you went in and out.
Jim, can you repeat? We didn't hear you.
Sure. Governor, I was wondering if you could just kind of outline the calendar. You're talking about 3 weeks between phases. Does this essentially take us to mid-July in terms of the order or your proclamation being in effect?
You know, I'm really sorry. I had to talk to my pal here for a second. Could you repeat that?
Sure. In terms of the calendar, you said that you expect to see at least 3 weeks between phases. And I was wondering if you anticipate, because of that, having to extend this beyond May 31st, because it looks like 3 weeks between phases would take us to mid-July.
Well, I think if you do the math, it tends to get to that for the essentially, you know, large gatherings, to move all the restrictions on gatherings of 50,000 people. That's a realistic assessment. Now, there's a possibility that, you know, we catch some massive break, that the virus, you know, goes downhill rapidly because of climatic conditions, or there's a cure that is found. You know, those things are possible. But I certainly don't believe we can count on those things. What we can count on is that if we do smart things, if we do the contact tracing and the isolation, there is really good reason to believe that it can be effective. If you look at other countries, South Korea, Taiwan, that had very, very aggressive testing and contact tracing and isolation strategies, they were able to do great things, and we want to be equally aggressive. So we ought to have confidence those things are going to work.
Next question comes from Keith with Como.
Governor, you've got a long list of businesses and activities and a timeline that stretches way out into the summer. What if people jump the gun and they want to start opening now and they defy your order? You're outside right now. What are you going to do if there is a mass uprising against this? Well,
that just hasn't happened. And, you know, the great members of the press keep wishing for failure here, but that's not how we operate in Washington. We look for success, and that's what we're experiencing. We've had the greatest unification of Washingtonians that I've ever seen. I'm 69 years of age, and I've never seen this state so united, Republicans and Democrats. Huge majorities want to see us to continue on this effort. Huge majorities are honoring this effort. We have not had to resort to legal action or criminality virtually at all. The only case we've had to file was against a landlord who tried to evict people against our moratorium on evictions for rent. That is an incredible achievement, and it's because of Washingtonian success that of honoring this order that we've been able to bend the curve down. Look, I get calls from governors quite often saying, how have you been so successful? And I tell them it's because Washingtonians are smart enough and dedicated enough to be willing to make some sacrifices on a temporary basis to get this thing behind us as much as we possibly can and not have to go through this again. So I just do not want to bet on failure here. It's not happening. It hasn't happened. I don't believe it will happen. In part because we're showing Washingtonians that we want to have a phased approach to reopen this state. We've reopened significant businesses already, as I've announced today, and we have set forth a very good phased approach to reopen the entire economy in a way that's safe and gives people the hope that they need. So I feel good about the course we're on. It's a difficult time, but it is a very united time.
Next question comes from Joe with the Seattle Times.
Two-part question. The MLS announced that they would allow some sports training facilities to open back up. I'm curious if where local sports training facilities fit into your four-phase plan, and then also curious to hear broadly about your reaction to Amazon's decision to allow some workers to work from home through October 2nd. Do you think other businesses that can allow that function for their workers should adopt a guideline like that?
Well, you know, we're not mandating that, but we certainly encourage it. I think we have found broadly that telecommunications has worked for us. It certainly is working in our office where we're doing the vast majority of our work using electronics. And I think a lot of organizations, business and otherwise, have now found out these possibilities. I suspect that when we get over COVID, we're not going to get over all of our electronics, because we found they're very successful, and we avoid laborious commutes on clogged highways. And so I think we have found this is working, and we'd certainly encourage it. And I want to thank the enlightened business leadership in our state. I think one of the reasons we've been successful in our state, because business leaders understood telecommuting early and helped adopt it early. It's been one of the reasons we succeeded. Your first question about athletic events. So in phase 2, we essentially allow outdoor gatherings of over 5, so that it could include training facilities. And we go to a 50 capacity in phase 3 and then unlimited in phase 4. So this would allow, smaller groups in phase 2 and a little larger groups in phase 3. From what I hear, it would probably allow what you're talking about in phase 3. Thank you.
I don't know if John or Rocky has anything they might want to add on the phone.
John or Rocky, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you said it well, Governor. We're obviously in all of these phases needing to remember that keeping our physical distance is going to be really important. The virus is still going to be out there. We know that people can have it without symptoms. And so we need to do this to stay healthy and keep us all safe. So we'll be, as the governor said, gradually increasing the size of folks so that we reduce the number of contacts we have. We know that's incredibly important to our success, and we think Washingtonians understand that.
Okay. Next question comes from Austin with Northwest News Network.
Hello, Governor. Just a technicality, as the phases go into effect, would you allow those smaller counties to, again, with the variance, skip to the next phase? And then more broadly, I'm wondering, again, trying to do the calendar work on this, if by mid-May phase 1 is sort of fully implemented, is it reasonable to think if you're a restaurant owner or a retailer, or maybe you have a hair salon, that by June 1st you could be reopening with this new guidance, assuming you haven't seen a flare-up of cases? And I'm also just wondering about masking requirements and temperature checks, if you're going to get that specific at some point.
Well, yeah, if you look at our phase 2, potentially, which would allow restaurants at 50% capacity and a whole slew of safety protocols that we will be working with the industry to adopt, that is a possibility. After 3 weeks. So you're really looking at in deeper in June after the completion of phase 1. So, but this depends on the course of the virus. And so these things are what I would suggest is, hope for the best and prepare for everything. And we'll be working with the industry now to get those protocols in place so that they can move forward as the matter matures.
We have time for 2 more questions. The next one comes from Hannah Scott with Cairo Radio.
Hi, Governor. 2 parts. Wanted to ask you again, kind of following up on the restaurant industry, wondering if you've been at all in discussions with them about this plan regarding the capacity, which seems to vary between 25 and 75% at different phases, and whether or not that's something that they'll even be able to survive on and their employees be able to earn like they used to. Also curious, based on what you know today, what your confidence level is on schools, in-person school resuming in the fall.
Well, I think there's a very good chance schools will reopen in the fall, and I'm very hopeful that is the case. What we do in the next several weeks will have a large impact on that decision. I think if Washingtonians abide by this phased approach, we will both reopen our economy and we will make it much more likely that we can return to school in the fall. I think there's a good probability, I would say, that we will achieve those things, in part because this phased approach does recognize both the economic circumstances of our state and the need not to have more fatalities and not to have children, infected, so we'd have to close many schools. Now, this is also important that we ramp up the testing capability. You'll notice that is one of our very important dials. And having that dial turned so that it is in the safe zone is extremely important for our ability to open up schools. Because in the event there is an infection in a school, to get enough confidence to reopen it or keep it open, we've got to have the ability to test large numbers of people to give people confidence very quickly. So that testing capability is fundamental to not only our reopening our businesses, but reopening our schools as well. As far as the ability, yes, I think, we've talked to various folks, and I think there's good reason to believe that at 50% capacity, when you look at restaurants, many remain operating at about 50%. We hope that they will be successful, and we will watch this situation. I was talking to the CEO of Starbucks the other day, and they said that their kind of mantra going forward is monitor and adapt. And I really think that that's the right course for all of us. We are going to look at the impact of these decisions and adapt if they're not working. And that's what we're doing right now. We're adapting. We've found we've been able to open up construction. We were able to open up fishing and golf. We're able to do elective surgery. We have adapted. And we're continuing to adapt in this phase one actions moving forward with automobile sales and car washes and the like. So we are adapting today. So we'll look at how this works for restaurant owners, and we hope that it's going to succeed. That's what we're aiming for.
Final question comes from Joey with the Everett Herald.
Governor, here in Snohomish County, we've sort of seen a new baseline in our new cases each day at about 30, down from 100 a month ago. And as you've said, people overwhelmingly are complying with your stay-home order. I guess my question is, as you sort of start to reopen things, as people are eager to get back out, what is the trigger kind of like? Some of our local health officials are worried about having to resume some restrictions if people get a little overly eager when they go back outside. So what kind of does that trigger look like to bring sort of restrictions back?
Well, if we can put up the dials again, if I can just look at these. I'm just going to read this chart. You may not be able to read them, all these, but if we can just look at these together. These are the metrics that we need to meet in order to avoid the problem that your local health officials are concerned about. It's a legitimate concern. And that's why we have set up metrics-based decision-making to make sure that we don't abandon success and then just have this virus come back and bite us again. The first thing is we look at the metrics of COVID-19 disease activities. So we need low and falling disease burdens. We measure that by COVID-19 cases, by number, the hospitalizations per day of COVID. We look at the rates of COVID-19 spread throughout Washington, what you call the R0 number, which we evaluate very carefully. We look at modeling data from the Institute for Disease Modeling, the Institute for Health Metrics Evaluation, one from MIT, a fellow named Yu-Yun Gu. We also look at the physical distancing trends in the state. Are people complying with the order? Is this working to reduce the interactions? So those are just the first metrics we look at. Then we look at the testing capacity. We look at the number of tests we can perform each day. And we look at the speed by which we can get the results back to the affected family. Then we look at case and contact investigations. And essentially we look at the number of investigators who are trained and ready to go to work. We look at the availability of isolation and quarantine units in case somebody needs to be isolated. What are the numbers? We look at the percent of cases that are investigated within 24 hours of the receipt of the complaint. And we look at the percentage of contacts that have been resolved within 48 hours. And we look at the next dial, the risk to vulnerable populations. We look at the number of outbreaks in our long-term care facilities where our vulnerable seniors are. And we look at the demographic and equity data to look to see if there's some inequities amongst our people. And there are some inequities in the percentage of people who are getting this disease. Finally, we look at the dial of the healthcare system readiness, and that's measured by the number of hospital beds that are available should this surge, the number of ICU beds that are available, the number of ventilators that are available, and very importantly, what the PPE procurement is and how much it matches with our needs. So we are being, I think, strategic about this by looking at all of that underlying data, and all of these figures, or most of these are on our website. Some are going to be forthcoming as we stand up the contact tracing army. And again, I want to say to reiterate that those healthcare officials are right, and so are the business people who really want to get back in the saddle and open up their business. Look, it's tough having a business that's not open right now. It's tough worrying about whether you're going to be able to keep your business. It's tough being unemployed. Those folks want to have a success, and so do I. And I think the success here is to only go through this experience once. That'll be a success. And that's what we're intending to do here.
All right, I think that's it for questions. Any last words, Governor?
No, I just want to thank everyone who has helped us design this reopening Washington plan. I think it's comprehensive, it's strategic, it's data-driven. It responds to the desire of Washingtonians to reopen their businesses and get back to work. It responds to the need to only do this once. And it responds to the Washington character of being resilient and unified and really building a great economy. I believe we're going to do those things. And when we do, we're going to be proud of our state as we are now. Until then, please wash your hands. Thank you.